Oh, where is the world today? Do, 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 do. Kitty-coo, good morning. I hope you had a wonderful week. Welcome to this morning's Coffee Brew Crime Recap Show. Do you wait for people to show up? Gianna Marie, good morning. Good, Will, good to see you. Good to see you too, Gianna Marie. I hope you had a wonderful week. Welcome to this morning's Coffee Brew. Cheryl, good morning. I'm going to give it about another 3 minutes for people to get their notifications and pop on in. Mike Stevens, good morning, Mike. I had a great week, thanks. How was yours? Did the family make it back and have a good time? They did make it back. They had a wonderful time in West Virginia at the Mothman Festival. Uh, my son did pretty good traveling. That was what I was worried about the most. But they're back. Good morning, Gayla. Welcome to this morning's Coffee Brew. But again, I got a lot done around the house. Got the sticks and stuff cleaned up in the backyard. I'm taking down a tree. Well, I'm not taking it down. I'm having a tree service take the tree down. And as they trimmed it up to cut it back to the main part, which has to be taken out, they left a lot of like little tiny sticks and stuff all over the backyard. So I got all that cleaned up. I've been meaning to get to it for a while. But I got a lot of things in the house done. Things crossed off my honey to-do list. Good morning, Reichart. How are you doing this morning? Welcome to this morning's Coffee Brew Crime Recap Show. Give it another minute and 15 seconds, and then we're gonna get this started. Sorry that I'm shooting in at this aspect ratio. My camera, I forgot to charge it, so I have to use my backup, which only shoots in portrait mode. That's my fault. Forgot to plug it in, charge the batteries. These things happen in life. You just woke up, you're doing great, good. Hope the roads of America are treating you well. "30 seconds. Get yourself a cup of coffee or tea or whatever you drink in the morning. Some people don't drink any of it. Not that I'm telling people they have to drink coffee if they're going to participate. Although I have seen those comments called coffee brew because that's what I drink in the morning. But some people prefer tea. Maybe they're having a, 3 fingers of scotch. I don't care. That's what they're having. And that's what they do in the morning. Alrighty, here we go. see if I can change the aspect ratio for what's actually on here. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Now, I know this is going to be tiny on your end. Sorry about that, how small it is. Have you seen the movie, The Mountain Prophecies, 2002? No, I haven't. Good morning, Jude. All right, these are the cases I've been following over the course of the last 7 days. And I have to say this because of the avenues and venues that I choose to stream to. Viewer discretion is strongly advised for anything that you may see or hear on any of my content on this channel. It is not meant for audiences under the age of 18. Particularly, some people may find that the content that I discuss and cover to be disturbing. So viewer discretion is strongly advised. First one is an escaped inmate who's wanted out of Minnesota. They mistakenly let him go. I guess it's not going to do much good, but that's a link there to the actual case in case you want to copy and paste it. But almost impossible at this. That's what the bottom part of it is. Again, sorry about the how small the screen is today. I can't change it, even for the content that that I did previously, like these slides. That is annoying as hell. I wonder if I can go back to this and then change it back. Nope. Bear with me for a second. See if I can change this. Do. Orientation change is not available. It will not change it. Yeah, well. It's me. All right. Well, what did I do there? And now it won't move forward at all. Can't drag. It won't move it. Move on to the next one. Okay, there we go. Next one. Fashion designer who is currently, he pled not guilty to crimes of sexual coercion in Canada. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. I have it written down as the next one. Well, fuck. Sorry for my language. This is annoying as hell. I don't know about you guys. It's annoying as hell from my end. I woke up in San Antonio today. Were you supposed to be in San Antonio? That's always scary when you wake up in San Antonio and you're not supposed to be in San Antonio. You're supposed to be in, like, Iowa. That's scary. Now, it won't go to the next one. I hate that when an inmate gets accidentally released, you get to have to talk with the captain. Yeah, I'm sorry, people. I'm trying to get this thing to cooperate here, but it's not doing it. It just doesn't want to stay with the orientation that I have for this camera. wonder if I turn the camera off and turn it back on. Let's try that. I'm still here. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this to work. I get confused when I wake up on a sofa and not in bed, says Amy. Good morning, Amy, and welcome to this morning's coffee brew. I hope you can hear me. Oh, hell. It's not working at all. Okay. Well, that's there. Won't let me change the orientation to the pictures on the screen. And every time I click on the next one, it flashes back to just camera. I don't know. I don't know. Well, mic and camera seem to be working, but it won't move on to the next one. Great. Alma, good morning. Welcome to this morning coffee crew. What's cracking, Will? Not much, Alma. I hope you've been doing well. Now having technical difficulties here. It's not wanting to let me move on to the next one. And every time I go to click on the next picture, next one, it goes back to camera and deletes it completely. And they're out of sequence too, because I have my notes here and it keeps on switching back. It's not working at all, ladies and gentlemen. It's totally froze. It's Google. When I click on Google Cloud Service, it's just froze. It's not it. When I click on the next one, it won't let me advance forward or backwards, and it's showing them all out of order. Like it should. It did number one, and number two was supposed to be about a Canadian designer, clothing designer, who pled not guilty to 26 counts total. They didn't charge him with all 26. He's got another court date where the rest of the charges are going to come, but he is pled not guilty to sexual coercion. Then we had an escaped inmate this past week who is wanted in Minnesota for murder charges, who mistakenly got released from prison. Then a dumbbell, Lori Vallow, through her attorneys, filed 4 motions on Tuesday of this past week to suppress evidence in the case. They say that was collected improperly. So that was the next one after that. And our dumb criminal of the week went out to the idiot in Florida who, let me grab my other notes here, who broke into the Space Force. Yes, that's a real branch of the United States military. They're called Space Force. But at his arraignment hearing this past week, he pled not guilty and told the judge, after he said he was not guilty of the charges, that he made up, like, I don't know, Rigel something, is some space galactic, overlord is the one that told him to come, and break in there to warn them of the pending war between Chinese dragons and uh, Chinese dragons and aliens, pending war. But he was a dumb criminal of the week. To answer a question, everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people have asked me, how do I pick who's going to be the dumb criminal of the week? It's based totally on how many views each dumb criminal story gets. Whichever one gets the most views, that's dumb criminal of the week. The one that gets the most thumbs up, in case there's a tie, that's the tiebreaker. I'm just having some flour tortillas with some homemade cheese and salsa. Ooh, that sounds so good. They said the mistake release was a clerical error, said Amy. Yes, a clerical error. It happens. There are a couple of different cases of people who, released. They had one guy who was released and he went home. He went on and lived the next 23 years of his life before they realized that he was never supposed to be released. And they sent a warrant out for his arrest. And they wanted him to come back to jail and serve out the rest of his sentence. But luckily for him, the judge said, look, he hadn't done anything else wrong in the last 23 years. So it's kind of, squash the rest of his sentence because obviously he learned his lesson from the time that he was, in jail. But that happened. The clerical error released the man. The clerical error with his case was that his first name and last name matched another inmate who was in jail. He's an interesting man. Your life story of when you were a child and witnessed the black man being tortured and murdered really impacted me, and had nightmares about your life story, but it helped me. Well, I'm glad that it helped you, right, Cart? You know, in life, we don't get to choose, what happens to us, the people that impact us. I'm glad that it helped you in some way. I mean, it's definitely helped me. From a really early age on, from that time and forward, there've been a lot of people in my life, who believed in one way or another, when it comes to race. And first, I mean, I could have ended up, the complete opposite direction, carrying a tiki torch, and screaming, racial obscenities, and with a large crowd. I could have ended up in that route. Well, because the people that were in my life, it certainly pushed me in that direction. But I rebelled, and I went the opposite direction, from these people and what they were doing. And I've learned to accept people, on their face value. I think it was George Carlin who said, "Racism is stupid. There's more than enough reasons to hate, people on individual basis. Why hate them as a group?" Oh, I wish my ex would be accidentally incarcerated. We have no choice. Yep, we definitely don't have any choice. We can either let our past control our future, or we can put our foot down and say, look, we're the only ones that are responsible for our happiness, and where we're going to go with our lives going forward. I see a lot of people who die young because they're miserable and they let that anger eat them apart. And I don't want to live my life that way. I refuse to hate people for, or let my past control my future and my happiness. Raquel Said, good morning. Raquel Said. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I was just listening to Tom McDonald's new song, Race War. It's really good. Hmm. I don't. Sorry if the name Tom McDonald is not striking something with me, but sure, he makes good music. Tom McDonald. I'm gonna check it out later. I'll write it down. Tom McDonald. Love, love, love. All. Yeah. Raquel, pronounced that way. Raquel. Is his last name pronounced Saeed? Saeed? Close? I'm sorry. Don't don't mean to butcher people's names. It's like racket, rack, L, rack, L, Saeed. All right. I will try to pronounce it correctly. I'm not doing it on purpose. Takes me I mean, hell, I have problems pronouncing common names correctly the first couple times that I see them. I'm lucky when I spell my own name correctly. Alma, I'm Spanish. Isn't this a great world that we live in though? We all come from different backgrounds. I had somebody go off on me about the spelling, pronunciation of methamphetamines. And they broke it down phonetically, and then they messaged me and they went over it again, and I was like, I'm saying it correctly. It's just my dialect, makes it some words sound differently. The one that really pisses a lot of people in my family off is this one. How they say this word? It's going to say host, and you're going to see a word there. How do you pronounce that word? Dawn. Melting pot. It is. But that's the best thing. There's a lot of negatives when it comes to the internet. But the internet, though, also you can use it to, brighten and enlarge your horizons and learn about new cultures and life. And so you pronounce it like Don. See, Dawn is like the the time of the morning, or the sunset, or whatever you want to call it. People use it for both, and I know it's not right, but they say that is the time of the morning of the sun setting, or that is the sun rising, of the day. But where I'm from, we pronounce it dawn. Dawn. Not, I'm not saying it wrong. That's just the way that we pronounce it. But here on the west coast of the United States, a lot of people pronounce it Don, like Don, like you put there in the comment, like the soap, yeah. But it just happens to, the reason why it pisses off a lot of people in my family is because it happens to be the name of my sister, and it's a family name that's passed down through the women in the family on my side of the family, and everybody's like, no, it's Dawn, like Dawn. So I mean, D and then Dawn. But of course, a lot of my family also says, yeah, and you betcha. When you're reading a book and you come to an end of the sentence and you're reading it out loud, there'll be a lot of pauses and a lot of mm-hms and ha-has. It's not in what you're reading. People just say it, or they add that in the middle of a sentence. Oh yeah. Bob went to the auto mechanic to get his oil changed. Ah yeah. And while he was there, they noticed that he needed a new ball bearing, or a new gas cap, or whatever. But they'll throw that in the middle of a sentence. And it pisses off a lot of people, especially on the internet. or they leave the words or change words. That drives me nuts. Sweet one, good morning. Samantha Mustin McDowell, hi everyone. Samantha, I couldn't get, because of the orientation of this, it would not let me play the slides for this morning's crime recap. So we're just chatting around and meeting each other and learning, about how people. Right now, we're talking about how people pronounce words differently. Oh yeah, it's unique, and so I'm originally from Wisconsin, and I've got a lot of family in Wisconsin up near the Great Lakes, and then Michigan, with Minnesota, North Dakota, and in that area of the United States, a lot of people speak that way, or they add other things there. They change the pronunciation of a word. You'll have what some letters are um, highlighted more, and then and like the word Velcro. I'm saying it correct, but it drives my wife nuts when I say it. Velcro. Like I'm saying it the way that we pronounce it. It's like I know how to spell it, and I know what the word is. Yeah, it may be wrong for some places, and it might be right for others, like the word dawn. I love the accent from where you're from. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's the Norwegian word translated as yes, but in their language spelled ja. Ja. I knew it. Your accent is definitely from Wisconsin. I am born and raised Prescott, Wisconsin. Got family in all around the Twin Cities area in Minnesota, all the way up to International Falls, and then into the Dakotas, from the reservations in Fargo, Pine Ridge, going all the way through, and then, but me and my sisters are the only ones, except for one niece who lives out west. Everybody else lives east of the Mississippi still, and then down into Iowa, Michigan, and going up that way. A lot. We had some family that moved down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico because they were. We lived on where the St. Croix and the Mississippi come together, and they were boat people back then. They were barge hands. They worked on barges, moving commerce up and down the Mississippi. It's an old Viking word, yeah, that became an English norm, particularly in New England. Good morning, Purple. Chat, hanging out with Loft. I hope your husband's doing better, Purple. It's like kind of Newfie with an American twang. I was brushing up on my Canadian slang words the other day. I was actually looking into that, trying to figure out how they pronounce certain words, because I couldn't understand somebody who left me a voicemail, that a little long voicemail. Born and raised in SoCal, Gianna Marie, Southern California. It's a good place. There's good places and bad places everywhere. I've lived in San Diego. That's about the only place I would say that. I mean, when I was in the service, I also lived upstate, California, 29 Palms. There are a lot of dialects, just like in the U.S. Then there's original dialect. Scundered is said a lot in Northern Ireland. Yet other regions don't even know the meaning. Go figure. Yeah, but there's also that's like we were talking about earlier. Melting pot. Here in America, And a lot of places, even the melting pot's good, but then there's a negative side of that too, where a lot of people lose, they become disconnected from their culture and language altogether, and melding into one individual group, and then it's not good on that aspect, and losing your culture and your self of belonging to. But on the then people take it to the extreme, but got to know where you're from and your ancestry and your family. But and I know not everybody has that option to know about their family and where they come from. Every time I hear about or see the color of purple, I think of the music artist Prince. I don't know why. I used to live near Prince Reichardt. Um, I lived in St. Louis Park. It's a suburb of the Minneapolis, and he had a home. I want to say it was outside of Edina, but he had a home there. He had a big purple gate with golden music notes on it. The house was painted purple. With a big long private driveway. You couldn't get near the house, but I don't know how long he lived there. I mean, that was back in the '80s. But I just remember me and my friends went there one time and kind of like peered through the gate, and he had security guards that were walking around on the property, but couldn't get too close to him. But I saw him once play in person at the First Street, 7th Street entry in downtown Minneapolis. He played the First Street side of the bar. So it's First Street and 7th Street. And one side is where you would see everyone from Anthrax or, Metallica or, Ozzy Osbourne. They would come in, and as they were doing tours, they would maybe they had a concert that night, and they would do their concert at the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome, which used to be in downtown Minneapolis. That's where the Minnesota Twins and the Vikings played. But they would do their concert, and then maybe they're working on new music for their next album, and they would stop in the 7th Street, side, and they would play. It was like 2 floors, and great bar and club. And then the other side, on the First Street side, was like a punk rock, and sad to say, Nazi music. You get skinhead music, that played there, bands. But we saw him play with Abalonia back in the day. I can't remember, if 84, 85, somewhere in there. Might have been earlier. It's been a long time. But I know it was back in the early '80s. But he was playing with Abalonia. But he played in the punk rock side. You could have heard an effing pin drop in there when he came out. Everything was electronic except for just him and the microphone, and Abalonia with her microphone. There was no drums, no guitars, nothing at all. He did 3 songs, but you could have heard a pin drop in the place. I was probably 10 feet from him, 15 feet from him, over to the right-hand side, where I was always on the right-hand side, because they would have a mosh pit in this place, and I didn't want to get anything to do with that. I wanted to stay over the side so I didn't get trampled. Purple is made up word from crayon. The true word for the color is violet. Is it? I did not know that. Well, thank you for letting us know that. I'm from England, traveled all over the States, and lived in Canada. I think everyone should travel. It expands your cranium. Can you imagine how boring music would be if musicians didn't travel? Yeah, that's true. Definitely true. Karen, good morning, Karen. Welcome to this morning's coffee brew. I hope you're doing well. 29 Palms is the best of all the bases. I was at 29 Palms recently. Really, Karen? Ah, man, I haven't been there since 90. See, I got to think about this for a second. My daughter was born in 7, so 1994 was the last time I was there, or approximately. I didn't mind the place. It was just another bump in the road, stop, in my journey, through the service. I know people who've lived there. I have a flag that used to hang. Well, you can't see where I'm pointing. I have a flag that used to fly over one of the barracks. It's up there in a wall. It's in a memorial to my friend. That actually came from 29 Palms. But it's not up there. It's not up there anymore. I'm in the process of cleaning all this up and moving everything around. I'll move the camera for a second. All that equipment and mic stands and everything else. Yeah. Sweet one. Good morning. Have you heard of Ren Gill? He's amazing. Self-produced musician. Hi, Ren. By Ren. So, any true crime talk? No, I can't. I can't get the Google to behave. It won't for some reason because of the orientation of the camera. Yeah, this is what I normally do my streams on, but I forgot to plug the battery in. Which, it goes in the bottom right there. I forgot to charge this battery this morning. I was meaning to yesterday, but I got so busy and I forgot to charge it. So it's got 1% battery life, and if I plug it in while using it, let's just say it loses quality of the actual thing. So, but anyways, long story short, I can't. It won't let me do the orientation for the slides on. What the hell just happened? You guys all still there? Boy, that was weird as hell. Pepper and honey. Okay. It only works if it's turned on. Oh, my mother with her cell phone never ends cleaning out things. Yeah, but I'm in the process of cleaning this entire studio. Half of everything's been taken out from one side and it's all pushed over to the other. Good morning, Mel Mel. Hope I had a good sleep. I did, Mel Mel. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. I felt like cleaning yesterday. Laid down until the feeling went away. That's funny, sweet one. I've definitely had those days. I mean, half of my day is trying to make sure my son doesn't destroy my house. At least it feels that way some days. Damn it! And of course, I don't have. I push myself back up. Is that a press up? Gonna oil this stupid chair. See, it won't even let me scroll up. I'm trying to scroll up and it goes up and I'm up at 829 right now and it won't go up anymore. I can see there's more comments before that. We used to go through a big screen TVs like no one's business. Well, when Joshy had meltdowns, SMH, we had hide everything that could be used as a bat. WD-40 is universal. Yes, it is. I've got WD-40 here. Just keep on forgetting. Got to make myself a list. I don't know about you guys, but I have these, post-it notes. If you guys could see that, inside my brain, the screen right here in front of me that I'm seeing on all this on is covered with post-it notes all the way around it with different things, and it starts off like that's 2 weeks ago. Well, up here, so just imagine this screen is the screen that I'm looking at. Up here at the top, it starts 2 weeks ago, and it goes down. Post-it notes, and then post-it notes all the way along the bottom and all the way up the other side. Joshy did a lot of caveman art on the walls. Oh, Mel, I still am finding art on the walls, black marker on the walls. And speaking of WD-40, WD-40 definitely helps take that off. Did you read them? I put them up and I don't notice them after. No, I read them, and as I do things, I take them off. The 2 weeks ago is not the oldest one, but the fourth one on the list is oil the stupid chair. Hid the markers. The only markers my son gets now are the Crayola washables. You can just wipe it off with a sponge if it's on the table or on the wall or anywhere. But he'd get a hold of a pencil or a pen, an ink pen, and the worst is when he kind of engraved it into the wall by pressing on it so hard with them. So the AD that you guys are talking about, is that the I'm not going to mention his name. You guys can if you want, but is that the pompous ass who was the YouTuber? Oh, that one. Tell you the truth, I've never followed his content. I'm aware of who he is. I've tried to communicate with him in the past to share when the Christopher Watts case was going on. I tried to share actual documentation with him, to show him that he was wrong, but he didn't care. He was making too much money off of the lies. Probably still is to some extent. My grandkids are teens now. No more smudged walls for a while. There you go. Yeah, we don't allow Sharpies anywhere in our house. They're all out here in a jar. I called it poop. I don't know who that is, so I guess I'm better off. You are, Kitty Q. You definitely are. Shannon, Bella, Cece, and Nico can now hopefully rest in peace. I hope that they've been able to rest in peace all this time. The ones that where it got really nasty was when he constantly harassed the Ruschek family, the mom and dad. I hope that they are able to to get some peace and solace now. Faith Furlong. Hey, Will, back on board. Hey, everyone. Good morning and welcome to this morning's coffee brew and chat. Escaped inmate stories are getting old. Did you guys hear about the 9 juvenile inmates that escaped from the prison in Pennsylvania, only 2 miles away from Danilo? I did. I saw that this morning, Ricard. I didn't see it before then, though, but it came across on my news feed this morning. They're all, I think they're all violent criminal, all 9 of them. Hoping their family can start to grieve, because I truly don't think they've even started yet with all the nonsense. That's true. It's a slippery slope, though. I told everybody before. I'll say it again. It's a slippery slope. We don't want people to harass the families, and and like they did, and his minions did. But at the same time, there's also, when you censor something, that it's some kind of content. If you start censoring people and content, it's a slippery slope, to taking away people's, rights to free press. But it's a fine line you have to balance. I'm not saying that he ever did. He certainly the hell never did, and neither did his minions. Oh boy, did they make it nasty for a lot of people. There's a right to free press, and then there's the abuse of power. Yes. Dox people? Hell, Amy, I was doxxed. They said, I don't want to get into it too much, but let's just say that I was definitely doxxed at my old house. And one of the reasons why we moved to where we are now, because we live in a gated community, was because of what they did to me, my wife, and my daughter. This is before, well, my son was just a baby, a little baby then. But they doxed us. They released our address. They tried to get my wife fired from work. I mean, there was no end to it. There were some very, very scary times during all that. And I'm sure it's going to probably happen again, because if they've kicked him off the platform, if he's really gone, someone's going to step right in and take his spot. It happens over and over again. Oh yeah. I lost what, 27,000 subscribers, approximately 26.5, 26.8. But because I just couldn't do anything at all, and that's what they wanted. They wanted me to go away. They didn't want the truth. They didn't want anything. And he had some pretty powerful minions that a lot of them learned eventually that it was just complete crap. He was out for the dollar. But oh well. They hold themselves above those they report on, giving them the power to take liberties with the grief and suffering of others. There's a special place in hell just for them to come judgment. That is true. You have no privacy in America. Absolutely none, Mel. There are more cameras in my local community than anywhere else, and they say they do it all to help fight crime. We can take a satellite photo and zoom in on someone's home from 10,000 miles up, but you can't get a clear picture at a convenience store. But you got to have them. In my downtown, we've got these mobile units that are on a trailer, and they have a 360 camera on them and microphone, so they're constantly listening and watching everything. And they can move in and around our downtown area. We don't even have that much crime here, and they've got a lot of these damn things. They're talking about microchip inmates. What do you think about that, Will and Gang? I think that's going a little too far. A little too far. Microchipping people. I know people, I don't know them personally. I've seen stories of people who gotten microchipped. I'm never going to do it. It don't matter if it's just for security reasons to get in and out of buildings. They've had microchips put in their wrist or underneath the skin that can be removed, but I don't know. That's too far. It's a foreign object. The inmate would have to give permission. Someone spread a rumor that I had manslaughter charges. You? Mel? No. It's not true, but no one could look up if I actually did due to our privacy laws. Yeah, microchipping inmates though, that's screams of like a dystopian world that I don't want to live in. The privacy laws in where you live will not allow people to find criminal convictions for people who live in where you do, Mel. Well, I guess there's good and bad to that. I mean, you don't know who what your neighbor has been convicted of. Nope, all private unless it's all over the news. Really? My mom said, "Don't ever give your DNA." I said, "Mom, I was born in a military base. They have my DNA." Oh, she was shocked. I read a story about the what was the name of the company? One Source or something like that. They were one of the earlier companies that was trying to, and they were part of the race to map the entire DNA sequence, and they got a lot of their samples of DNA because they were trying to get people to give their DNA. So like people who worked for the company willingly gave up their DNA, but they still didn't have enough samples of different types of DNA. And they came up with a brilliant idea on how to get more samples. They went out to like 100 different bars in large cities across America, and they picked up cigarette butts from in ashtrays or on the discarded on the ground, and they locked up so many samples that way through DNA samples. I think they were supposed to delete all the data, but there's probably people's data that's in that system. But they were one of the earlier ones who were in the race to map the DNA genome or whatever. People discard their DNA all over the place. I suffer from PTSD. You added your name. Well, good morning and welcome. At CrimeCon, a DNA company said DNA isn't the future, it's the now. CrimeCon is, if for those who are interested in it, and if it's local to wherever you maybe live or closer to you, I suggest you go to it. I've been to one CrimeCon. It's a lot more interesting than going to a Comic Con, at least for me. My family's all into what in the hell is going on. Why is it doing this? Y'all seen that? That's the second time that's done that. There's something going on with Google right now because Google is trying to reboot still. Oh, but all of a sudden it's just like, and it's trying to reboot the Google, but it still won't let me in it. I don't know what's going on with Google. Somebody hacked Google. Maybe they're under attack. Ooh, spooky. It's because I'm here. Sweet, yes, but I believe they keep them at least half a certain year. Hmm. Heel prick card is usually discarded. I have 6 little darlings. Been glitchy. Social media is under attack. Well, hell, we're all under attack from social media. Happy autumn, everyone. They checked the baby for liver function. Lots of born with jaundice, and they put them under lights to get the liver working. Well, my son was a preemie. He was born because my wife had. I'm probably going to get this wrong. Preeclampsia, and so they had to take him early. But when he was in the NICU unit, they used light therapy as part of it, because he was just a tiny little guy when he was born. You wouldn't know it now. Boy is all legs. Yeah, he's going to be a tall little guy. Russell Brand is claiming social media attack to cover up his crimes. Russell Brand is just a freak. Sorry, but he is. Oh, they ended up catching up with one of the guys from DNA from his daughter's medical exam at school. Middle had jaundice, and they had him under lights too. Nearly got burnt. My mom told them he was bright red. Hyper Billy Rubin. Hyper Billy Rubina. They did. They did, sweet one. They're doing good now. My son is probably on his computer right now doing crazy stuff, watching or making. He picked this all up on his own, but he uses the same video editing software that I use for YouTube, and he is so much better at it than I am. I actually sit behind him sometimes and I just watch him, make his little movies. He's always acting things out. But a lot of times he's in his own world. But he makes little videos, and then he tries to upload them to YouTube, but we have to take them down. How tall am I, Mel? I am just under 6 feet. Number 4 was born 2 weeks early due to pelvic. Oh, I hope he's doing good. I'm back. My phone is acting up. Are you using Google, Gayla? Because I'm having an issue right now as we speak. Still, I'm looking at the other window because I've got dual monitors here, and the other one is Google is trying to load, but then it freezes, and then it tries to reload. I think there's something wrong with Google. It ain't my computer, but when it does try to reload, it turns the other one off because it's trying to sync them with the cloud. Mel, I am 5'10". Got him on the RA++ thing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up this morning. I am truly sorry that I couldn't get the thing to work. If I get time tomorrow, which it probably should I not probably should. I should have time tomorrow. I'll take uh, the presentation, the crime recap, and I'll make it into a video, and then I'll put it on the community tab, for people to watch. I'll make it unlisted, but I'll put the link so you can click on it and watch it on the community tab here on YouTube. So, you go. Got to get that fixed before trivia. I'll get it fixed, Kitty Q. I'll get it fixed. Everyone have a great weekend, and don't forget tomorrow night, so a Sunday night, and depending upon where you are in the world and what time it is right now, but Sunday nights at 4 p.m. we play live trivia here on YouTube every single week. This week is Dean Coral, the Candyman. The Candyman is Sunday night at 4 p.m. tomorrow, if here in the United States. But everyone, thank you again for coming and hanging out with me this morning. I appreciate it, and I hope that everyone has a terrific weekend. If you can't make it to trivia, and a terrific week ahead. Thank you again. You listened last week. Well, hopefully you can take part, sweet one. I know it doesn't fit into everyone's schedule, but you can always watch them and rewind too. Cheryl, you have a terrific weekend. Thank you again, everyone.